Hello everybody, welcome to Modi's English class. Today's poem is another interesting poem. Who is the poet? I am not telling the name of the poem first. I am telling the poet. Guess what should be the poem? The name of the poet is William Wordsworth. Why he is famous? He is famous for his nature poetry. He is world's one of the best ever nature poets the history of English literature has ever produced. So what's the name of the poem? You guess it. The name of the poem is Daffodils. So that is the poem which inspires lots of people in the world, lots of students, and here the sheer music is there. The poem creates the music. And here, let me tell you the definition of William Wordsworth poem. What is the definition? Spontaneous feelings, powerful, spontaneous feelings overflowing. And that is, what is poetry for Wordsworth? So, spontaneous overflow, powerful feelings, recollected in tranquility. It has happened in case of Solitary Reaper. It has happened in case of this poem Daffodils. What? The poet has observed the beautiful dancing of the daffodils, but there he has not enjoyed it. Where does he enjoy it? Where did he enjoy it? He enjoyed the dancing of the daffodils when he is alone in his room, while he is lying on his bed. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of Wordsworth's poetry. Nature, simple human being, common problems, the problems of human beings, and that is the central issue which always deals with Wordsworth's poetry. And here Daffodils is a poem which is really beautiful for the words to music and music to words, where words represent music, music represents words. And here again, Wordsworth highlights that how nature is a thing of solace. Nature is beautiful, it's tranquil, it's peaceful, it's contentment, happiness, everything. So, he draws everything from nature. Nature is God to him. And let us begin the poem, Daffodils, the first stanza. Let me highlight the first stanza and I start the description of the first stanza. Look, first line. I wandered lonely as a cloud. I wandered lonely. So these words, look, common words for Wordsworth. Lonely, wandered. So first comparison, that is a simile. I wandered. So I means what? The poet traveled, wandering, aimless travel, that is called wander. Journey is different, wander is different. I wandered lonely as a cloud. How do clouds move? Clouds are moving lonely. Similarly, the poet is here alone. He is moving alone. That floats on high over vales and hills. Where do the clouds float? Clouds float on high over vales and hills. Vales means valleys, hills and valleys. When all at once I saw a crowd. Interesting line. Who is the crowd here? What is the crowd here? So here, crowd is daffodils. What is the definition of crowd? A group of people, jam-packed, a group of people together. Then only we call a crowd. Two people cannot be called crowd. Three people cannot be called crowd. So definitely jam-packed. And India is the best place where you can see a lot of crowd. Suppose you are teaching a topic to the students, crowd management. Don't teach that topic in England and America. You teach it in India. Why? Because in India, everywhere you find crowd, lot of crowd there. And what's the crowd here? Here crowd is daffodils. So here it's a metaphor. Why? Direct comparison. When all at once I saw a crowd. First line, I wandered lonely as a cloud. That is the simile. The poet himself comparing himself as a cloud. Now here daffodils compared with crowd. Why? Daffodils are together, jam-packed, just like the crowd. people are jam-packed together. A host of golden daffodils. What is the color of the daffodil? Golden. Beside the lake, this is the positioning of the daffodil. Where we find the daffodils? Beside the lake, beneath the trees. Beneath means under the trees. Beside the lake, under the trees, these daffodils are there, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. In what condition we find the daffodils? The daffodils are dancing in the breeze. Breeze means wind. The wind is passing and the daffodils are fluttering and dancing. So what a beautiful scenery for the onlookers, for the visitors. The poet has observed this beautiful scenery. Now move to the second stanza. So what's the highlights of the second stanza? Now I am moving. Just find out what does the poet highlight in the second stanza. And here the second stanza goes like this. And let me highlight the second stanza and analyze the second stanza before you. This is the line. Continuous as the stars that shine. So daffodils are shining just like the stars. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. Twinkling. What is the meaning of twinkling? Shining. Milky Way, galaxy. So here daffodils on earth compared to the things of the universe, that is the galaxy. In the galaxy you see the stars are twinkling, shining, and here on earth the daffodils are shining. So that is the comparison. That is the comparison. They stressed in never-ending line. Never-ending line, is it possible? Not at all. So this is the use of hyperbole. When the world is limited, when India has a geographical boundary, and here the poet is talking that the daffodils are stretching in never-ending lines. So this is the hyperbolic expression. What is hyperbole? It is more than exaggeration. It is unreal description. No reality is there. They stretched in never-ending line. Why does the poet say? Because his eyes can't reach. Poet's eyes can't reach the description of daffodils along the margin of a bay. So where do they stretch? Along the margin of a bay. Margin means border. Bay means here the lake. So near the side of the lake, the daffodils are stretching in never-ending line. They spread in never-ending line. Poet's eyes cannot reach that. 10,000 saw I at a glance. Look at the number of the daffodils. The poet has used the word 10,000. What is that? Has the poet counted the daffodils? Answer is no. Then how can he say 10,000? What's the literary figure used here? What's the literary term? So it's exaggeration. Means it is falsely presented. Something more. 10,000 saw I at a glance. The poet is comparing. Means large number of daffodils are there. That's why this is the exaggeration used. What is exaggeration? It may be real, but not realistic description. Something more, something more. Tossing their heads. There. Look at the word there. Always he used there for human beings. But here for daffodils, the poet is using there. What is that? It is personification. What do you mean by personification? Personification means when inferior things, lifeless things are compared just like the human beings, that is called personification. From person, it is personification. And here daffodils are personified. Why? The poet has used they for daffodils, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. How the daffodils are dancing? The daffodils are dancing in a lively manner. What is the meaning of sprightly dance? Lively dance. So dance is lively. So the daffodils are dancing beneath the trees, beside the lake, and they are spread. They are spreading in never-ending lines. What is the description? That is the hyperbolic description. Now I am moving to the next stanza, third stanza, and let us see how does the poet describe the third stanza. And here in third stanza, again we find some great lines. All of you look at that. The waves beside them danced. Here there is a comparison of dance. Two dances going on. What are the two dances? One dance produced by daffodils And what is the other dance? Other dance is the waves of the lake. You see how the waves are going. The waves are going in this fashion. So there is a comparison and we have to say, according to the poet, which dance is better. Now let us move to the line. The waves beside them danced, but they means daffodils, outdid. What is the meaning of outdid? Outdid means surpass or excel. Surpass, overtake, excel. Outdid the sparkling waves in glee. How do the waves appear? Sparkling. The waves are sparkling means shining, lightening, shining. Why? Because of the sunlight. Because of the sunlight. You see, the daffodils are shining, the waves are shining. But here in the comparison of dance, the daffodils are ahead in comparison to the waves. Why? The bending and stretching of daffodils is more in comparison. Look at the waves. The waves are moving like this. Look, this is the daffodil. How do the daffodils are bending? How they are bending? They are bending in the breeze. They are bending in the breeze. So the bending is more in comparison to the waves. This is the line. Outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but gay. Gay means happy. So by observing such a beautiful scenery, by looking at such a beautiful scenery, what's the mood of the poet? The poet is in real happiness, ecstatic joy. So he is, according to the word, gay. Gay means happy. Outdid the sparkling waves in glee. The poet, a poet could not but gay in such a jocund company. What is the meaning of jocund company? Means happy company. So what is the company here? Dancing of the daffodils, dancing of the waves, and the poet. So these three things compare and compound together as a jocund company. The poet is part of a company, the daffodils are part of the company, and the waves are part of the company. So here comparison between the dance of the daffodils and dance of the waves. Poet is also enjoying this type of dance. So this is a beautiful company, the formation of the company taking the three elements. Look a line. In such a jocund company, I gazed and gazed. The word is repeated. Why do we repeat the line or words? Why we repeat the words? We repeat in order to highlight, in order to give attention, in order to give focus. Look at line. In such a jocund company, I gazed and gazed. The poet could not take the eyes off. The poet could not take the eyes off. Why? Because he is delighted by the dancing of the daffodils. He is delighted by the dancing of the waves. And he is enjoying such beautiful scenery. He could not take the eyes off. I gazed and gazed, but little thought, what wealth. Last line is important. Another metaphor used. What wealth the soul to me had brought. According to the poet, this is the richest wealth to the poet. A poet cannot be happy if you give him millions of rupees. A poet can be happy if he goes to the riverside, if he goes to the natural surrounding. Here similar things happening. The poet is saying that what wealth means what property is there, and no material property can give Wordsworth such a pleasure, such a jocund company, which he receives by looking at the dancing picture of the daffodils and the dancing picture of the waves. What wealth the show? Which show? The dancing of the daffodils and the dance of the waves. That is a show which gives happiness to the poet. The show to me had brought. So this is the comparison. What does the poet say? That the dancing of the daffodils and the dancing of the waves has provided him the greatest wealth. No material wealth, no material prosperity can give him joy than this dance, this natural surrounding, that this beautiful scenery which his heart is filled with joy. Now let us move to the next stanza. And what does the next stanza explain to the readers? And look at the, I am highlighting. So the next stanza, this is of course the last stanza. All of you look. This is the last stanza and all of you look at it. Very important stanza. Here it is. For oft. Oft means here often. Oft means here often, many times. For oft, when on my couch I lie. Couch means what? Bed. For oft, when on my couch I lie. Lie means not sleeping. So there is difference between lying and sleeping. Sleeping means you are out of sense when you see the dreams. But lying means not in sleep, but just relaxing on the bed. In vacant or in pensive mood. Vacant, blank. Pensive means thoughtful. Whether the poet in thoughtful mood or in vacant mood, they means the dance of the daffodils. They means the daffodils, the dancing of the daffodils. They flash upon, flash back, return, flash upon that inward eye. So that dancing daffodils, the picture of the dancing daffodils returns to the inward eye. What is inward eye? That is the mind's eye. That is imagination. That is the thought. So that is the thought of the poet. That is the imagination of the poet. That is the third eye, which is not visible. That is the mind's eye. So in his mind's eye, in his memory, the dancing daffodils returns while the poet is lying on the bed, which is the bliss of solitude. Bliss means immense happiness, great joy. The poet receives great joy. When he is alone on his bed. He is not sleeping. He is lying. And that is the solitude. And what is the bliss of solitude here? So solitude is not negative to the poet. Solitude is a blessing to the poet. He is deriving pleasure, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills. The poet is saying his heart is filled with pleasure, joy. Why? Because he is getting immense pleasure by the thought of the dancing daffodils. When the thought of the dancing daffodils returns to his mind's eye, he is excited, he is happy and dances with the daffodils. So this last line is important. The poet himself is dancing with the daffodils. What? So when he memorizes, when the flashback returns to his eyes, so the poet himself joins the dancing of the daffodils. So he lost himself and in his mind's eye, he is enjoying that bliss of the moment. He is enjoying the bliss of the solitude. So that's all about the poem. Thanks a lot for watching this poem. In my next class, I will see you and give you more poems. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.